Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I'm joined here as always by the man who we're going to hope his internet connection holds up today. Kyle, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I am mobile today, so we're hoping for the best on the hotspot right now. But doing pretty good overall. How are you doing, sir? Coming back from that good win.
Yes. So I was, I'm feeling under the weather, Kyle, which, this was just which is unfortunate, but, it was a very fun game last night. I was feeling fine last night. I have to say, Monday Night Football, awesome to go to. I didn't really realize how cool it would be going to a night game at an NFL game. I highly recommend if anyone has an opportunity, go to a night game, do it. It's a very cool atmosphere.
Yeah, I've only gone to one night game. It was actually a Seahawks-Texans Sunday night football game. And it was in Seattle, right when Quest Field basically opened up. And I mean, that building, it's as loud as advertised. It was pretty cool to see that on a Sunday night. And the Texans were actually pretty good then too. So
yeah, it's weird. The Texans have been good for a while, but are because they've been so bad for these past 2 years. We just think that they're like always a bad team.
yeah, they had a horrible stretch when they first came into the league, and then turned it around. Had those years with Kyle Shanahan as offensive coordinator, and then kind of gone back down.
Yeah, I think what we should do for this podcast. Just spend the entirety of it talking about the history of the Houston Texans.
Andre Johnson, Chad Bradford.
Good receivers. There you go. Sure. Yeah. We're not going to do that. Let's talk about the Buccaneers-Giants game. Talk about it for a second. What I liked about this game as a Buccaneers fan is, we have seen Tom Brady and the Buccaneers offense look a little bit sluggish at times in this cover 2 zone defense that they're going up against, that teams have been doing more and more. Not this game. And maybe it's just the Giants aren't that good, which obviously that's a part of it. But they at least showed a lot of flashes of what they can do, even against a defense that's kind of designed to beat them.
Yeah. Looking at the numbers, it looks like Tampa Bay moved the ball downfield pretty easily, where the Giants struggled to move the ball downfield. So, Tampa's back. It seems like everything's fine. People were overreacting a little bit to a couple bad games, and it looks like this team shouldn't be just fine. Looks like you got a couple of defensive backs back as well, right?
Yeah, Sean Murphy-Bunting was back, so that obviously helps. And also, so I think, Rob Gronkowski being back, that makes a difference. I mean, Rob Gronkowski is looking as good as he's ever looked. I think it's, he's 31. Like, he's not some like old guy that can't play anymore. And especially just having that third option, I know people are going to say, like, you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, how much do you need? But the third option can matter a lot. Ask Kansas City. So we have Zachary Stewart said, Joe Judge is brilliant, knowing sacking Brady would only allow Brady to show his toughness and motivate the Buccaneers. Yeah, great decision by Joe. Brady did not get sacked once in this game. And, the offensive line was awesome for Tampa Bay. They got basically no pressure. The Giants did. So, this is just one of those, like, okay, you can clearly see one of these teams is trying to win a Super Bowl. The other one of these teams is in purgatory here.
Yeah. So did you see the updated MVP odds now?
No. What is it?
Tom Brady plus 270 for MVP. That's a clear-cut favorite. Josh Allen plus 550. And then you have Dak and Aaron Rodgers and Stafford at plus 900. Those are your top 5 MVP odds right now.
Yeah, and I was thinking Brady's probably going to win MVP. Because I think the way we typically view MVP is what have you done so far? Because that's kind of the more fun discussion. But you look at it, and they played the Falcons again this season. They played Carolina twice, which in the 2 out of the last 3 weeks of the season, they have a solid defense. But you also think that that's a team that Tampa Bay should be able to beat pretty handedly. They played the Jets, and then you got the Colts, the Bills, and the Saints. But you have games that the Buccaneers, you expect them to win, and you could see Brady putting up some numbers while doing it.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think that, he's rightfully the favorite right now. I definitely wouldn't want any of Josh Allen at second favorite at plus 550. But yeah, he's playing good football this season. And without a clear-cut favorite, I think he's a pretty good bet right now.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's a fun game. Again, I think bigger game is the one we're going to talk about against the Colts. That's sort of another real test for Tampa Bay. But it kind of just goes to show they're back on track. It's also very fun to see, you know, like they had John Lynch's Hall of Fame. He got his Hall of Fame ring at halftime. I didn't even know when I bought tickets that was happening, but that was cool. So just also another fun aspect of being at the game. We show up at the gate. We're showing up right when gates are opening. I look behind. I'm like, there's someone in a gold jacket. What's going on here? It was Derek Brooks, was just like behind, just like taking photos with people, sort of for like a progressive thing or something. So I was just look behind me, and Derek Brooks was 15 feet away.
That is pretty cool. Did you go get a picture?
I didn't. I didn't want to wait in line, and I was kind of just like, I don't need a picture, but I took one from afar, so I have proof.
Oh, well, there you go. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it seems like a good overall experience. Love going to NFL games. Real quickly, call me Mike. Hi, Mike.
Yes, he says hi, Kyle. Also, Luke Brown says Kyle's camera is better than usual. You love to see it. All right, maybe people like mobile Kyle.
Mobile Kyle is doing well. I got some light in this room for a change. That's nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to the main aspect of the show here, the Pick'em show. Kyle, tough week for you last week. I had a 0-point week. You had a 5-point week. Points are bad. It's like golf. So you got some work to do now after leading for several weeks.
Yeah, and now we're getting into this week, which is probably some of the closest lines I've ever seen. As we were talking about pre-show, there is one team with over a touchdown favorite this week, which is pretty crazy. So, need a good week here. I'm bouncing back.
Yeah, and even in that game, slight spoiler alert, I don't think it's like that crazy. I think that I'm not sure if I like that line. I think I would rather it be less than a touchdown. So all these games, I could easily see going either way. So there will be no, oh my God, how did that upset happen? Let's just get into it. Why don't you give me a game?
All right. I'm going to give you, let's see. We'll go Seahawks and Balls for the first game of the week in Washington.
Seahawks, Balls. Yes, the one everyone's looking forward to. Who will win? Seattle at Washington. Washington's a 1-point favorite here. I think I'm going Seattle, though. I think I'm going to go the upset. I don't love either side here. This feels like a bit of a coin flip game. But I do feel like, okay, what is the Seattle we've seen? And I think that I don't expect Russell Wilson to continue playing poorly is really the main way I think about this. I expect him to play better, and I don't know. You could argue either side for sure. Neither one of these teams has looked fantastic, but I feel like there is at least more talent on that Seattle Seahawks team.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I know Washington's played pretty well the last couple weeks, but at the same time, like, is that defense really going to be able to stop the Seattle deep ball? I mean, is there anything left in that Seattle deep ball? Like, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see because I'm curious. Like, I think our thought of Seattle says Seattle should win this one, but we don't really know what's left of that Seattle team.
Right. And I mean, that's fair. One thing I should point out, Washington, second worst team in points per drive in terms of their defense. Seattle actually playing pretty well defensively at 10th best. So the defense hasn't really been the issue. It really comes down to, can Russell Wilson start to play better? He hasn't looked great since coming back from the injury.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's able to play better, this should be a Seattle win. But at the same time, we don't really know if he's able to play better this season. We don't know what extent he is playing with through this injury. And I mean, when Wilson's not out there, that offense just doesn't look pretty.
Yeah, when Wilson is out there, it hasn't looked pretty so far.
Well, yeah, when he's not healthy, it doesn't look pretty.
I agree. Took a bad time, I guess, to blow my nose real quick. But yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, we don't have to spend too long on this. You want us to move on to another game?
Yeah, we can definitely.
All right. Let's go to right. That was my pick. Now I'm going to give you a game. This one's an interesting one to me. Two teams battling for a playoff spot. This could have serious playoff implications. I'm going to give you Vikings at Niners here. Niners 3-point favorites at home. Where are you going?
Yeah, I had this one high up my list too. I am going to go. I thought about locking this up for the win, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I am going to take the Vikings, though. I do feel like that they maybe have turned a corner here. Their schedule gets significantly easier going forward. And I mean, look, I don't care really. I know the San Francisco Bass defense is right now currently top 10 in the NFL, but I just don't really know if there's a lot of defenses that can actually contain this Minnesota passing game when they're throwing the ball downfield and playing aggressive. And that includes the San Francisco secondary. I think Minnesota is going to be able to throw on them, and I like the Vikings to win it. I think they're a good team.
Yeah, it's interesting because, again, San Francisco's looked better these past few weeks, and I especially think on offense. I liked what they've done. Getting George Kittle back kind of has made everything better. It makes things allows Deebo Samuel to do all the stuff that he can do. It allows Brandon Ayuk to now be kind of the third option. So I think that makes the offense look better. I think I could see San Francisco putting up some points in this one.
I could see it too, but at the same time, I think we have to give credit to Minnesota, who I think has covered pretty well in the last couple of weeks. Now, Aaron Rodgers ended up going off in the second half of that game and kind of making it interesting. But I think at times they've been able to cover a little bit and make things, do well defensively. And there's a chance they're able to do this again, or, Jimmy Garoppolo sails a couple throws, and all of a sudden Minnesota's just getting a couple extra possessions and it's over. So I think it's going to be a fun game. I think both of these teams are going to score, like you said. I just like the Vikings by a slim margin.
Well, and the real thing is, you can't bet against Kirk Cousins.
21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The guy's elite.
Yeah, he's playing good football so far. So yeah, it's a very fascinating game. I do think this is kind of one of those I could see, and it has real playoff implications as well, as these are two teams that could end up fighting for that last wild card spot for all we know.
Yeah, and this is another team though where we talked about how it's wrong for Minnesota to run the ball so much, but Dalvin Cook should also have some success in this game, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. One interesting thing about, you talk about the passing game. Vikings currently 8th best in the league at drop back EPA per play, whereas the 49ers are currently sitting at 21st. But again, you could argue that the 49ers are better now. So that's another interesting aspect.
Yeah, they've certainly gotten better over the past couple weeks. They're actually 4th in the NFL right now, tied for 3rd in the NFL in yards per pass attempt. And I think they're starting to stretch the field a little more. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can continue to throw the ball well, because, Garoppolo has felt a little inconsistent throughout his career. So we'll see if he's able to keep this going.
Yeah, should be a fascinating one. All right, let's move on. Why don't you give me a game?
All right. Another game with a lot of playoff implications, as you were saying, Jets at Texans.
Yes, Jets at this is Kyle. I am the one person excited for this. I have to say, complete masterclass by the Jets of sitting out Zach Wilson until the exact proper time. He announced he will play against the Texans. I'm picking the Jets. We're going 3 straight upsets to start the show with these predictions. I'm going with the Jets. It feels weird picking the Jets. I just can't pick a Texans team no matter what. I could see actually the Texans putting up points in this one, and maybe I'm picking with just my bias of the Zach Wilson stuff. I think both teams should put up points in this one. And again, the reality is neither one of these teams are very good. But give me the Jets. Let me back my guy and Zach Wilson here.
Well, if you're going to back him, you should go all the way and lock this up. You just need a Jets win.
You're trying to bait me into a lock here. It's not going to work, Kyle.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this is Mike White has COVID now, so that means Jets quarterback number 3 on the Jets quarterback power rankings is out, and he also took down Jets quarterback number 2 on the Jets quarterback power rankings, Joe Flacco, with him. Joe Flacco, close contact, is out of the game as well, which means Zach Wilson, quarterback number 4 on the Jets power rankings, is now the starter, where Josh Johnson, quarterback number 1 on the Jets power rankings, is backing him up. So it creates an interesting dynamic, all the variables to this Jets quarterback room. I don't know how they're going to balance it all.
Yeah, just really rubbing salt in the wound here, Kyle. You love this. You love the Zach Wilson sucks arc that's going on right now.
Well, I love that it's the Jets of all teams.
Right.
It's funny. So, I'm okay. I'm okay with laughing at it a few times. Unfortunately, you're at your expense too, but mainly the Jets.
I bet I get more tweets than like Zach Wilson does about every time he has a bad game.
That's probably true. So,
yeah. Luke Brown says Jets have too many Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Yeah, that's true. It's just that they have too many good quarterbacks. What if all 4 of these quarterbacks end up in the Hall of Fame, Kyle?
They should revolutionize the offense and play all 4 of them at the same time.
At the same time, how would they do this?
So, I don't know. So, I'm thinking Zach Wilson and Josh Johnson line up out wide. You have Elijah Moore out there somewhere too, and then Mike White and Joe Flacco are in the backfield.
Okay, I don't think they should do that.
Really? That's a hot take.
Right. I'm going to go against that. I mean, hey, we know Mike White can catch a pass.
Yeah, there you go. So
Right.
we're
I'm very fascinated in seeing what we see from Zach Wilson. This is the good pick to give to me because it kind of does feel like it could go either way. Are we going to see Zach Wilson kind of learn from other guys that, hey, you can take these checkdowns? Granted, I've kind of fought back against, like, okay, a lot of these times there weren't checkdowns, but they should be in this game. What I like about this more than anything is I like the LaFleur scheme and how it matches up with the Texans defense. We've seen both against Cincinnati and against the Colts with a similar scheme. They've had real success and had guys open constantly, regardless of who's quarterback. So I think that should happen again.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone should have open guys against the Texans defense. So can Zach Wilson take advantage of it this week? I think that's the big thing because, I mean, this is a game where this is definitely his best opportunity to have big numbers. This Texans defense is bad. It's very bad, and they should be able to expose it. On the other side, as weird as it is, Tyrod Taylor's played pretty well when he's been in games, kept the Texans offense at least moving a little bit. So I don't know. This line feels a little reactionary though to me. 2.5 for the Texans. Like, have they seen this roster?
Well, I mean, have you seen the Jets roster?
Yes, but it's also the Texans roster.
Sure. I mean, neither one of these teams should get points in this. Neither one of these teams should be minus in this one. You should get points if you bet on either one of them.
This should be an obvious pick 'em at least. Like,
no.
One of these teams employs Lovie Smith though. Like that should tell you everything about this game.
Yeah, the Jets, like, for all that we make fun of the Jets, like, we kind of all like a lot of their decisions in this offseason. Like, none of them have, a lot of them haven't worked out, but, like, we kind of all agreed, like, okay, yeah, Robert Saleh, he's a pretty good head coaching prospect. Like, yeah, Zach Wilson, he's like an awesome quarterback. Like, yeah, Corey Davis, he had a really good season for Tennessee. It just hasn't really worked out.
Yeah, and nobody liked the Texans' moves in the offseason, so they were polar opposites.
Right, and so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to give you a game now. Let's stop with these, okay games. Let's go to game of the week here, thumbnail game, Rams-Packers. It's a pick-em. Where are you going?
Oh, man. I'm going to have to take the Rams, I think.
All right.
I'm a little concerned about this because they haven't looked good the past couple weeks, but I still think this is a good team. And I'm a little concerned after what I saw last week from the Packers. I think that the secondary finally got beat up a little bit in the last game. And I think that the Rams are going to be able to scheme ways to get their guys open downfield. I got the Rams in this game, and I think they're going to win it.
Interesting. Well, here's the one thing that I'm interested in. I think both of these teams are going to try to take away the pass. Neither one of these teams are really great at stopping the run. The Rams are at least okay. I mean, again, part of it is by design, but the Rams are 20th in EPA per rush attempt. The Packers, and then this is defense, so against Packers are 27th. So Packers are worse, but the difference is the Packers are also much better at running the football, and I think this could be a game where the ground game matters, and I'm interested in seeing how much teams do run the ball here. Obviously, it's going to get billed with Stafford and Rodgers, but it might be actually the running backs that have a big impact in this one.
It's potential, and I definitely think that's a possibility that the Packers go to the ground and try and control the clock. Here's the thing. Like, if what we saw last week comes to fruition again, can the Packers stop, like, even if they game plan to stop the passing game, can the Packers stop the Rams passing game?
Probably not. I mean, that's the thing. It's going to be difficult, and I do think that that's where things get interesting. But I think the flip side is you could argue the same thing with the Packers. I mean, again, looking at EPA per play, per drop back, the Rams are 2 and the Packers are 3. So both of these teams have had success basically against anyone. We have the great Overlap 618 in the chat. It's your boy Overlap. Good news, question mark. One live stream closer to Jackson and the Penguin costume. Carry on. Yes, again. Hey, Buccaneers keep winning. I'll happily wear a championship Penguin costume.
They have to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, man. I don't know about that one.
Hey, let that happen. Again, I'm all for rooting for the Patriots Buccaneers Super Bowl. That's great.
Yeah, but back to this game, I think it is going to be fascinating. Like you said, I just think that whoever, it's going to be interesting to see what the Packers do because I think that even if they throw everything against stopping the passing game, like I could still see Cooper Kupp kind of dominating. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I think I'm just going to pick the Rams though and kind of close my eyes and hope for the best. I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch though.
I'm glad I'm not picking this game. I'll say that much because I went back and forth constantly. I ended up going with the Packers, and I think you know it is close, and it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen. It'll be interesting to see what sort of schematically does happen. I guess the one kind of maybe X factor here is there is still the Jair Alexander is hurt, so therefore the Packers don't really have a corner who can go up on Cooper Kupp the way that the Rams do, where they can put Jalen Ramsey on Devontae Adams on key plays. If they're playing a 3rd down and 5-man coverage play, they have an answer there.
Yeah. And, his talent level his numbers the last 5 years haven't really been what you were looking for. But talent level, even if Stokes or whoever it is holds up against Kupp a little bit, you don't really like the matchup of Kevin King against Odell Beckham, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's just another complete X factor is what do we make of? I mean, I don't know if I like the matchup of Van Jefferson and Kevin King for Green Bay.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that the Rams are going to find ways to attack in this game.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun though. I can't wait.
There's also the aspect of Packers coming off of a tough loss. They might be extra motivated if you believe in that kind of stuff in this one.
Yeah, aren't the Rams coming off of like 2 losses?
Yes, but so I guess it works both ways.
Yeah, so they're both extra motivated, so it evens out.
Well, I mean, in fairness, it's not like Matt Stafford isn't known for losing several times in a row. Like the Packers kind of have a bit more of a they don't tend to lose a bunch in a row the way that again we just have. I mean, how much do you blame on Stafford? But that's kind of why I think of it that way.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. I think that just about covers everything. Anything else you want to add?
No, we nailed it. That was a great preview by us.
I can't wait. Perfect. All right.
All right. So
now
this
it's my turn to give you a game.
Yes.
All right. I had another game higher up my list, but I'm going to change it up here on the fly to give you your beloved Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Who are you taking?
Browns at Ravens. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I mean, honestly, it's my beloved Cleveland Browns against my beloved Baltimore Ravens. Really, I think I gotta go Cleveland here. The Browns are just such a wild card. What Browns are we gonna see in this one? I feel like kind of what I think about is I still have yet to see the Browns really have an impressive performance. I think about the game last year, right, where the Browns put up 1,000,000 points and the Ravens put up 1,000,000 points and the Ravens won. I just feel like it's going to still be difficult for the Browns to stop Baltimore like that. I think I'm going to give Baltimore the edge here. I think the Ravens are the best at what they do best, which is their offense.
Yeah. So wait, who did you take?
Ravens.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm assuming this line, and I'm assuming everything is pointing towards Lamar playing. Which, by the way, that guy needs some immunity boosters now.
No kidding.
He's sick
this week. At this point.
Yeah, I mean, sick last week, and I think he's had COVID twice now. It's like, drink some orange juice, man. So yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think it comes down to this: if the Ravens defense wins on 1st and 2nd down, and forces 3rd down, where they're going to blitz the hell out of Baker Mayfield, I think they can win this game pretty easily. If they're not winning on 1st and 2nd down and Nick Chubb dominates this game, I think it becomes more complicated. I think this is going to be a very low possession game. I think it's going to be very close because it's low possession. I wouldn't take the Ravens -4 just because I don't think there's going to be a lot of possessions in this game. But I do think if the Ravens can kind of control the first couple downs, force passing situations out of the Browns, they can win this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this is not I think the Ravens are going to run away with it. You also look at Mayfield is better when he's blitzed than when he's not blitzed. So that's another aspect here of, obviously we all know Baltimore loves the blitz. I don't think Baltimore is not going to blitz. And again, part of what we remember about the Lamar Jackson poop game was that Mayfield had a great success throwing the ball down the field constantly. And that's another aspect to this one. So you're right. I mean, this is definitely a game that can go either way. It's a game that they could run the ball a good amount. I could see Cleveland having success that way. So I think both teams will score points in this one.
Yeah, I think they'll score a little bit. But like I said, the question is going to be how many possessions are each team getting? Just because I
Sure.
think
Maybe
both.
better
Yeah,
way to say it, points per drive.
yeah, exactly. So I think it'll be a fascinating matchup. On the flip side, it kind of feels like Brown's defensive line getting after Lamar, right? Can they contain him? Can they keep him in the pocket a little bit? I mean, that's basically impossible task for any defensive line. But we know what this defensive line is with Myles Garrett, who's probably defensive player of the year so far. Can they keep him? Can they contain him a little bit so he's not able to run outside every play? Because I mean, I don't know if Baltimore's going to be able to throw on this Browns team.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the defensive player of the year. You're not going to give it to Trayvon Diggs.
Well, that's true. Diggs. I mean, he does have the 8 interceptions. No, I'll still probably go
Mhm.
Garrett.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thing. Again, looking up the EPA per play. It's fun to look at this stuff. Browns 25th in rush and defense EPA per play. Ravens 12th. So you have that big disparity. And two teams that like to run the football, Ravens are a lot better in that aspect. So that's kind of the thing they have going for them is that. Meanwhile, for the Browns, 23rd in EPA per dropback. Browns defense just hasn't played particularly as well as we thought it would be. It has the talent, but it hasn't really lived up to it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think it has, but I do think it still has the ceilings that it can reach that level. It just hasn't reached it consistently.
Yeah. I like the. I would give Tom Brady defensive player of the year. The way he motivates his defense, incredible. What do you think about that, Kyle? Tom Brady defensive player of the year just for motivation.
I'm for it as long as we're willing to give Jonathan Abram offensive player of the year for allowing a touchdown basically every play.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that works out. Yeah, should be a fun game. These are two
Raiders fans are going
teams.
to come after me now for that.
I think Raiders fans. I mean, if you're a Raiders fan, there's no way like you're like I guess unless you bought a Jonathan Abram jersey because you liked him on Hard Knocks, like you're probably on our side about the Jonathan Abram thing.
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much has to at this point.
Yeah, I don't know who the. I mean, maybe not. I mean, that's not his mom. I would hope.
She's probably grilling him right now too. You know, you need to play a little better if you want to stick it in the league.
I think she's doing the like, hey, it's a great accomplishment being in the NFL. I think that's the move if you're a family member.
You think so? You got to pay for a retirement? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know anything
Hey,
about the
he was a
Abram
first round
family.
pick. Hey, listen, with the history of Raiders first round picks, he's doing all right.
Yeah, that's true. He's still on the team, so he has that going for him.
Yeah, I think there you go. I'd say okay. I think we got that game. When we're making fun of the Raiders during a Browns Ravens preview, we can move on. So here now, I'm giving you a game. I'm gonna give you another just stinker here, but it's an interesting game that could go either way. So I'm gonna give you Panthers at Mammals.
Yeah, I had this on my list next. I am going with the Panthers. We are way too reactionary on this Mammals team. I don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball with as much success as teams have had against the Panthers, particularly last week. I think that the Panthers are going to be able to run the ball on Miami and not really challenge those cornerbacks. I like the Panthers to win this one.
Yeah, and part of me does wonder about the Panthers defense and how much success are they going to have against Tua and the Dolphins offense, which I feel like Tua's played solid, Tua's played well, but this could be a test for Tua.
Yes. And the way to attack this Carolina defense is running the football. And Miami doesn't run the football very well. So yeah, I think it's going to be I think it's a bad matchup for Miami. And yeah, I don't know. It's way too reactionary over a couple wins, especially when they barely beat, what was it, the Texans and the Jets, right?
Yeah. They had competitive games against the Texans and Jets, and since they won them both, now people who didn't watch the game are like, hey, they're on a win streak.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I think I like the Panthers pretty easy this game. I'm not going to lock it up, but I think I like that. Miami, third worst in the NFL in rushing per attempt.
Yeah, this seems like one of those games that like we're going to forget that it happened, like the day it happened.
Luke Brown won't, but I mean everybody else
Right.
will, basically.
Yes, Luke Brown says Finn's coming out on top. Luke Brown very excited about this one. I'm interested to see, will Cam Newton have success against a man-heavy offense? Probably. I think this is or man-heavy defense. I mean, so a couple interesting notes here. Carolina still does technically have like a playoff hopes here. I know that like we don't think of them as a good team, but there still is that hope.
Yeah. What are they, 5-6 now?
Believe so. Yeah, I think some. And again, the NFC is kind of weird. Yeah, 5-6, and currently there's only three teams who are, the three wild card teams who have a 500 record or better, and the 49ers and Vikings play each other. Panthers win, they're going to be tied for a playoff spot, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably true. So, I mean, yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a weird team because, like, if you didn't watch a second of that game last week, just based on the conversations on like Twitter and everywhere else, you would have think the
Mhm.
Panthers won by like 20,
Right. I
and
know.
they lost. And it's like, I think the one thing about this team is Christian McCaffrey is literally terrifying to go against, right? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like the guy could just go for a touchdown in any running play or passing play. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's a really weird situation, but I don't know. I think this team's better than the Mammals still.
Yeah, all right. Jake Thornton says this game sounds super boring. All right, Jake's not into this one, so let's move on then. Let's get to a game. Hopefully, Jake is more interested in. Kyle, why don't you give me a game?
This should be a pretty good one. Divisional matchup here. Chargers at Broncos.
Okay, Chargers at Broncos. Yeah, this one's it's fascinating. This is kind of I sort of separate these into tiers when I'm figuring out what order I want to give them, and this was kind of in my. It would be an upset, but I could see it with the Broncos. I'm going to say here, give me the Los Angeles Chargers. I think that's the obvious pick here, but I could see potentially some upset potential with the Chargers. I just like the Chargers better. And it comes down to these are actually pretty similarly constructed teams. I just think the Chargers are better at what they're constructed to do than I think the Chargers are a slightly better version of what they are than the Broncos are.
The Chargers are more likable.
You don't like the Chargers. You're a Chargers hater, I think, at this point. I think it's fair to say, which I don't even hate this take of you.
I don't know. I think, like, here's the thing. I think people want to root for the Chargers because the Chargers are fun. They have a fun young quarterback who's the new, like, in vogue thing of the NFL. They have an exciting passing game. They have an exciting running back. The Chargers are fun, and people want the Chargers to succeed. Do I think there's a ton of holes in this team still that need to be addressed for this team to be, like, taken seriously? Absolutely. But people want to see this team win and be good. I don't think people really care for this Broncos team all that much, which I think there's going to be a lot of bets towards the Chargers this week, which is why I could see the upset because I think too much of America is on the Chargers that the Broncos are going to sneak away with this one. It's going to be close though. I think it's going to be closer than people think.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's one fascinating thing about these two teams that like to sort of invite the run. The Chargers run way better than the Broncos do. And you look at EPA per offensive rushing. Broncos are 23rd, Chargers are 6th. So that's to me a clear aspect here that I could see the Chargers. Everyone makes about the Chargers is okay, their run defense sucks, and it does. But there's a similar system both ways with both the Chargers and the Broncos. Now, the Broncos are better, have more talent on the defensive side, but at least I think the Chargers might be able to take advantage of that scheme better than the Broncos can take advantage of that scheme.
Yeah. So what was the Broncos ranking?
They're 23rd in terms of offensive rushing EPA, and the Chargers are 6th best.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's evolved over the past couple of weeks. Because I think Javonte Williams actually starting to play pretty well. They're starting to amp him up a little more. So I think he's a guy who could actually kind of take over this game and look really good. Because I think historically with rookie running backs too, second half of the season they kind of amp up the numbers and the carries, and they start to play a little better. They get more comfortable. They see the holes faster, that sort of thing. And I think he could have a big game in this game.
Yeah, I think the other aspect has to be mentioned of. Chargers have Justin Herbert, and who is a legit top 10 quarterback already. And again, he still will have his rookie moments here and there, but he's a legit quarterback already at this young age. And I think that's kind of another aspect is we talked about last week. Okay, when your game plan is Najee Harris versus Justin Herbert, that's not a great game plan. When your game plan is Javonte Williams versus Justin Herbert, that's not a great game plan.
Yeah. Would you take Teddy Bridgewater or Ben Roethlisberger right now?
I take Teddy.
Yeah, I think so too.
But do I expect Teddy to have a better game than Ben Roethlisberger had last week? That's not obvious to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think that's a fair point. I feel like these teams are pretty even, and if you feel like they're even, the tie probably goes to the quarterback. And Los Angeles has a significantly better quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, what do the Broncos do better than the Chargers? They stop the run better, but it's not like a drastic difference, right? And I would probably say that I still like their coverage unit better, but again, it's not a drastic difference. And I think offense wins games in today's NFL.
Yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. I guess the roadmap, the Broncos establish that running game, force a couple turnovers on deep balls, kind of shut down Mike Williams because I feel like when we've seen this Chargers offense struggle, it's Mike Williams is taken out of the game and they become one dimensional going at Keenan Allen because they want to throw the ball a lot and rightfully so because they have a really good quarterback. So if they're able to kind of take him out of the game, force the ball towards Allen, maybe they can force a couple turnovers and make this interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think that the Broncos absolutely have a chance to win this game, but the way I see it is it's like a 60-40. Like, I think the Chargers should be the favorites. That doesn't mean that
Yeah.
they'll win, but I think that they should be the favorites.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a close game though.
Yeah, sure. Let's move on. Let's go to. So now I'm going to give you a game here. I'll stick with this divisional matchup thing. I'm going to give you Eagles at Giants here. Where are you going with this one?
Ooh, all right. So Eagles at Giants. This was a little further down my list, although I probably should have had a higher. I kind of did this fast. So
Hmm.
let me take a quick look at this. I'm still going to go Eagles. I think this team's kind of found its groove. As we were talking about last week, like I don't think this is a good team, but I think it's a team that's found a rhythm and found an identity. And I cannot say that the Giants have an identity that makes any sense to anybody. Um,
No.
so I feel like that this team, like I said on Sunday, it really kind of seems like they just zagged on the rest of the NFL. Everyone else wants to go to this throwing game, preventing the pass with these deep coverage situations and throwing the ball downfield a lot. And they just said, "Hey, we got really good running back, or we got good running backs. We got a good mobile quarterback. Um, let's just run the ball a lot." And they started doing that the last couple of weeks, and they're starting to win football games. I think they're going to be able to do that. And the defensive line, I still feel like is going to eat up the Giants' offensive line. So I'm going to take the Eagles.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are the pick here, but I could definitely see again. This is kind of the kind of a defense that can give teams trouble, can give the Eagles trouble. I could see something like that happening simply because I could see them just playing cover three zone all game, and that's something that the Eagles don't love. Where they kind of it's hard to run the ball too much, but then also like it's not like you have necessarily wide open holes to throw through. This is kind of the team that like I think Pete Carroll would love to go up against would be the Eagles. I think that this is something I could see happening is an aspect of that. But again, how good much that would that matter, especially when like the Giants defense isn't that good. So that's another
Yeah.
problem. And like, it's one thing to have the right scheme, it's another thing to execute the right scheme.
Yeah, they just don't have the dudes anymore, does it? Like,
Hmm.
I don't know what happened from last year to this year. Is it just regression out of the guys? Was Dalvin Tomlinson that important to them or
I don't think that they were actually that good last year. I think that's what happened. I think that they got a bit overrated last year.
okay. Yeah, that's probably fair.
Hmm.
Um yeah, I mean they've been beaten up this year and they've been a little bit exposed. Yeah, so I mean I think the matchup could lean itself to the Giants and we've seen Daniel Jones have these monster games this season randomly and while I think this Eagles secondary has played better, I still think it's kind of a feast or famine secondary that maybe they could throw on. That being said, I just think that there's too much going towards the Eagle. The momentum's squarely in the Eagles' favor right now, and I like them to win this one.
Yeah. Also, another factor: Giants third worst in stopping the run EPA per play. That's not great.
No, it's not great at all. So Eagles win.
Hmm. Yeah, so Eagles are definitely, and not to mention the Eagles' defensive line against the Giants' offensive line. I mean, there's a lot of issues with this Giants team. I think this is a fair take by you. Again, you could see it happen. Divisional games, weird things happen. Expect the Eagles to pull away with this one. Where are you going next?
uh, Everyone's marquee game of the week. We got some doozies. First, we had the Jets Texans. Now we got the Falcons Jaguars. It's a pick 'em. Who are
Mm,
you going with here?
yeah, I kind of considered locking up the Falcons here. I'm not going to do that. There's a couple locks I like better. So because again, it's weird being the person that picks second is when you're first, you're going to get the last pick. You'll get a lock. When you're second, you don't know if you'll get the lock you want. You say, because if you want it, you'll get it. I'm gonna go Falcons to win this one, though. I like the Falcons all right. Again, we've been beating the Matt Ryan is not the issue here with this Falcons team. He has had his bad days, but most of it is just the team around him has really struggled so far. But I think that it'll be easier going up against kind of a rough Jaguars defense. This had its moments. It's improved, and maybe that's kind of why this is the pick 'em, because it is a bit of a wild card type game. I could see really any outcome. I could see either one of these teams winning by a bunch. I could see this coming down to the wire. I do think I have to go Jaguars here. I'm also fascinated Falcons here. It should be a fascinating game, I think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think if Cordarrelle Patterson plays, I'm going with the Falcons pretty easily, just because that gives them 2 playmakers to the Jaguars 1. It's as goofy as that. But yeah, I mean, if he's not playing again, I think this will be a little bit closer because we saw what this Falcons offense was as far as getting open when he wasn't on the field. It's basically Pitts and a bunch of guys, but I still think Pitts can have success in this game more so than he did against the Patriots. So I think it'll be a close game. But if Patterson's on the field, I like the Falcons, and I think AJ Terrell's going to be able to make a play in this game. I think he's oh, wait. I wanted to ask you this last week, and I forgot to.
Okay.
1 year later, who would you take right now? AJ Terrell or Trevon Diggs?
Oh, I take Terrell. Yeah, easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's good.
Diggs has, like, I'm not a Diggs hater, but like, there's no doubt that he's struggled. Like, Diggs has gotten absurdly lucky. He's also has great ball skills, so he takes advantage of that luck better than other people do. But like, I made a video where I kind of broke down all of the interceptions he had this year, and I forget the exact number. I might be able to look it up, but a good number of his interceptions were not just him getting lucky, but him legitimately getting beat, and then a bad throw results in him. Like, I have it right here. Out of the 8 interceptions, 6 of them I considered to have some element of luck, which that happens on a good number of interceptions regardless. 2 of them I considered just a replaceable player would have been able to make. And on 5 of them where he just legitimately got beat straight up off the line, but he was still able to, usually due to a bad throw, come back in and get the interception. So there's a certain amount of luck with Diggs. Now, again, you have to take advantage of that luck, and his ball skills are what's good about Diggs. But I think Terrell is clearly the better corner, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Terrell's really good. He had a nice pick in that Patriots game. Kind of confused Mac a little bit on that coverage and kind of broke to the route. I thought it was a good play on him. So yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting debate though, because obviously Diggs is getting all the praise, and Terrell's stuck on a bad defense. But I think overall, I think he's a good cornerback, and I think he may be able to get Trevor Lawrence in this game too.
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible. And that's kind of the other aspect. That's really the main thing I'm focusing on is who has the better quarterback. Like, neither one of these teams are good, but at least one of them has today I'm taking Matt Ryan over Trevor Lawrence. And tomorrow, next year I might have a different opinion, but today that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. So,
All right, well, let's move on then. I'm going to give you a game. This one is very fascinating. It's kind of the marquee Thanksgiving game. I'm going to give you Bills Saints here. Maybe a bit of a reach. There's a couple games of a smaller line, but I think this could go either way. Where are you going?
Yeah, I was struggling with this one a little bit. I am going to take the Bills just because, once again, the talent level's there. We've seen teams struggle to throw the ball on the Bills' defense, and the Saints have Trevor Siemian, and we are still not sure if Kamara is going to play. If Kamara's not playing, I'm probably locking up the Bills. Seeing how Kamara is possibly playing, I'm not going to lock it up, but I am going to take the Bills because I think that the Saints are going to have no chance throwing the ball on this team with this receiving core, with Trevor Siemian. I think that I think Bills are going to get a couple turnovers, and, Josh Allen just has to play good enough at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, the reality is, here's why I'm a little bit reaching on this one is this cover 2 scheme. It's similar to what the Chiefs went through, and they've seemingly broken out of it a bit. But now the Bills are going through a very similar thing, and they're really struggling to break out of it. They struggled against the Colts in this cover 2 scheme that maybe, I kind of brushed by and said, they'll be fine. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have, but they struggled against that. And we've seen them struggle against this cover 2 stuff. Now, that's what the Jaguars did and had success. Now, I think the Jets tried it, but they just can't do anything well enough for it to matter. But I think that's kind of an aspect, and that's what the Saints are going to do, is they're going to play cover 2 just naturally. And how much can the Bills really improve upon it on a short week? How much can they throw in there? I don't know. They might be ready for Monday night a week later against the Patriots, but the Patriots don't really play cover 2, but they do when teams are bad against it. So that's going to be a very interesting aspect. But I still agree that I think the Bills are the more talented team, but the matchup is why I think it could go either way.
Yeah. Who would you take in this one?
I might go to Saints. I really might. I think that the issue is, you're right, it's the Trevor Siemian. I think I have to go Buffalo just because, as much as I want to say the scheme could give the Bills trouble, I don't know how they consistently move the football unless it's just a run heavy, which it could be a run heavy offense, probably will be. So, you know what? I'll go Saints, even though it doesn't matter. I'm going to say Saints win this one.
Yeah, I think because on the flip side, it's like Kamara's getting a short week to try and get healthy. And I don't know if it's going to be able to be enough for him to get ready. And I just think it's going to be such a problem if he's not out there. Because now I think Ingram's out too. He didn't practice today. So, I mean, I think the Saints are in trouble if they're missing both of those guys.
Yeah, and they had some offensive line injuries as well. So, you know what? I'm going back to the Bills. Back to the Bills. Picking the Bills again.
Yeah. I know Ramczyk had injury stuff too, and that's a huge part. Yeah. So, I mean, I think I see the roadmap to the Saints' victory. I just think with the injuries on offense and the fact that Trevor Siemian's behind center, I can't do it. I think the Bills have to win this game.
Yeah, and yeah, that's another aspect. It's just sort of the mental thing of like they're gonna be a team that really wants to win this one if you believe in that kind of stuff. But again, so do the Saints, so should be a fascinating one. Want to move on?
Yeah, we'll go to the real marquee game of Thanksgiving. That's the Bears at Lions.
Yes, Bears at Lions. Kyle, I'm gonna do something insane here. I'm locking up the Chicago Bears here. I'm locking up Matt Nagy, locking up Andy Dalton to beat. And you know what? A huge element of this is I want to care about this game on Thanksgiving. So I'm locking up Chicago.
Well, they're playing their better quarterback, so there's probably a good chance they win this one. I think
and the Lions aren't.
Yeah, Tim Boyle is not the better quarterback.
Here's my mindset. When a team is only giving Tim Boyle a field goal, I'm always going to lock that up. I think that's just the move I have to take.
Yeah, I had this down as a lock candidate too. I have zero faith in Boyle. I have zero faith in the Lions defense. I have zero faith in anyone besides DeAndre Swift in this game. But yeah, so I think I got to take the Bears.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of the thing, and really what it comes down to is like, it's kind of a joke, but I legitimately do think Andy Dalton is the better quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Like, again, today, maybe in a year we'll disagree, but like today, like I really do think Andy Dalton's the better quarterback.
Wouldn't this be so fitting against their rival on their historic playing on Thanksgiving Day? The Lions snap their streak. They get the one win of the season. They make it interesting as they go to the number 1 pick.
Well, that's really what it is. It's like there's no logic that the Lions should win this game, but there is like that weird thing of like, you could see like the Lions, like this is kind of one of those games. This is a bit of a Super Bowl for them because they're waking up like, hey, we have a chance to win this game. The Bears have to be demoralized. I mean, imagine playing for the Chicago Bears. Like that's just a tough life if you're a Chicago Bears player. So you don't really care. The Lions you don't want to go 0-16-1. You don't want to have a 0 in the win column at the end of the year. So this could be one of those you wake up trying to win a game.
Weather can't be too great in Chicago right now. Not a lot of reason to be excited about that team. Yeah. So, and then the other part of this, I do remember back when I locked up the Lions to win. I think it was week 3.
Yes.
Still in that game, the Lions only lost by 10, and they had 3 trips inside the 10-yard line that got 0 points. And one of those was the center snapped the football off his quarterback's nuts. So, it's the story of the Lions season that, every now and then they had a couple games where breaks go their way. They might win one, steal a game. This was another game that they had opportunities to win it, and they Lions it up. Can they kind of get some redemption here?
Well, yeah, that's the aspect. Is like that the Lions are like one of those teams. Like the Lions, I really do believe, have been maybe the luckiest team in football, despite the fact that they haven't won a football game. Like the absurd things that have gone their way in these games, and you could argue there's been the flip side as well, of course, with the Ravens long field goal and them missing a field goal in overtime to win a game. But the amount of onside kicks and like weird turnovers that have gone their way, although we're talking about again one that went the other way. I guess the Lions, maybe just weird things happen in those games, so any score could end up being possible as long as the Lions don't win.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be an interesting game, but yeah, locking up the Bears -3, I had it kind of down as a potential too. I like the pick.
Yeah, the other aspect is this does kind of have the shades of like a game where, like, if the Bears lose this one, I think Matt Nagy's fired Friday.
I think so too. They get the long week to kind of prepare for it, so I think it makes sense. So.
Yeah, and that's one of those, like, it would remind me of like Mike McCarthy getting fired after the Packers lost to, I believe that was the Josh Rosen Cardinals. So then, okay, get out of here. If you can't beat this team, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, enough of that one.
Right.
Looking forward to our Thanksgiving meals.
Yes. That's what everyone, the piece of advice is have your Thanksgiving meal, before 4. Like, do it during that one.
Yeah, exactly. So, I like it though. Let's do it. Lions football, baby. Never quit.
Yes, exactly. Again, sorry. Caught me blowing my nose again. I'll be more on my toes. I'm going to give you a game here. I am going to give you the one game that does have more than a touchdown spread, even though there's still 4 games left. I'm giving you Raiders at Dallas Cowboys. Where are you going?
Yeah, I don't love the line, but I am going to take the Cowboys because, I mean, this isn't the kind of defensive scheme that's built to stop the Cowboys passing game. Even if they're missing Cooper, even if they're missing Lamb, I think the Cowboys are going to be able to throw the football. I think they're going to have success in this game. And I just can't take the Raiders anymore right now. I can't do it. Just with everything that's going on, and I still tried to double down, triple down that this is a talented team and pick them the last couple weeks. I just can't do it again. So I'm going to take the Cowboys. I think they win this game, and I think they're able to have success throwing the ball even without their guys.
Yeah, what's really fascinating about the Raiders is that they just refuse to do anything other than what they do. They're like they're like that person in fantasy football who has their team and like doesn't make trades, like doesn't like pick up anyone off the waiver, and it's like, this is my team, this is what I'm going with. Barely ever changed anything, but still ends up like okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else about it. I mean, like, I don't know. Like the crazy thing is we're starting to hear conversations about Mariota playing, and they're getting loud. And it's weird because I don't think Carr's the problem, but at the same time, if this season gets derailed, like, what do you do?
I think you get a head coach that hopefully is, has a 2021 mindset. I think that's what you do is you get someone who has more of a fresh mindset. You improve the receiving core because, in Carr's doesn't have a ton to work with, especially with Ruggs out. I mean, they have pieces for sure, but I still think they could use like a true number one option, which it was looking like Ruggs could be. I think they're okay. I think there's teams that are in worse spots than the Raiders are for sure. But I do think that, again, losing Ruggs, I do think has hurt this team a lot.
Yeah, this could kind of just be the lost season for them. I agree. But yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Well, let me say this, Kyle. Have you seen the Reddit coin with the Raiders?
No.
So a Reddit user flipped a coin for all 17 games to predict how the Raiders do. The prediction says they would go 10-7 and make the playoffs. So far, through 10 games, it is 10-0. It has the Raiders beating the Cowboys. Does that make you want to change your pick?
No, it does not.
Okay. Bold call going against the coin.
That is pretty crazy that this is happening. Yeah, I just think that there's too much stuff we've talked about this. Too much stuff happening with the Raiders. And, I mean, Ruggs has been a bigger loss than Gruden this year. True or false?
I think true, because you can at least, I mean, they both hurt, but I guess the more immediate one that we can tell is Ruggs, just because I think that that happened right away. They won a game right when John Gruden got fired. They didn't win a game they haven't won a game since, Ruggs had his incident.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, but it's just been a tough thing for the Raiders. So I think I'm still feeling safe with the Cowboys. I'm not overreacting to a couple bad losses in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Give me the Raiders with points, though. Seven and a
Yeah, I
half. I've
agree.
been taking Raiders. Mm-hmm.
This is kind of a crazy line, so I
Mm-hmm.
completely agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. 3 games left. We have the Steelers, Bengals, Titans, Patriots, and Buccaneers, Colts. Which one are you going to give me here?
I will give you Steelers Bengals.
All right. I'm taking the Bengals. And listen, the frustrating thing is, I was thinking about this. Do we have what's the biggest disparity in talent, but also in coaching in the inverse that we've seen? Because this might be it, And Zach Taylor again. I'm not a I. Zach Taylor's grown on me a lot this season. I think he's done a lot of good stuff. I still wouldn't consider him a great coach, though. I would consider Mike Tomlin a great coach. The difference, though, of course, is just that the Bengals just have so much more talent than the Steelers do, and that's even when healthy. I think when the Steelers when hurt, like who's going to cover Jamar Chase in this one? And if you double him, that can open up the door for other guys. Whereas for the Steelers, they don't really have that on the flip side. I don't know if they're going to get basically, close to 14 points just handed to them in the fourth quarter like they had with the Chargers.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why we both had this pretty low on our list. I think the Bengals are a more talented team. I guess the one thing is that there is a clear coaching advantage towards the way of the Steelers, right?
Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to is like, well, what if like the Steelers have a good game plan? I mean, couldn't you see the Steelers playing cover 2, and then Zach Taylor says, "Well, I got to run the ball. It's cover 2. I have to keep running the ball," and just not getting any yards on any of these plays, and just like doing horrible. And the Bengals don't get anything going offensively.
Yeah, and I like Joe Mixon. I just don't like him more than Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. So,
Right.
yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. But yeah, I do think the Bengals have more talent.
Well, and here's the thing too. It's like the line 4.5. I might take the Steelers just because we always talk about Mike Tomlin playing down the competition, but I always like to say it goes both ways. He plays up the competition too. So like every game the Steelers play and it's seemingly close.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'd probably go the same way too. This is an interesting line. I feel like Vegas didn't really know where to put this, but they felt like the Bengals were better.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. What's the pathway for the Steelers winning this one?
Like you said, they come out in kind of a cover 2 shell defense.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Taylor kind of doubles down and saying, okay, this is Joe Mixon's game. Joe Mixon's winning this for us. And then the Steelers also have a couple of ranks bound their way. They get, I don't know if it'll be a block punt again, but they get, special teams to bounce their way, a couple turnovers. And then I think that we've seen, and I've said a couple times, I think you can throw on this Bengals team somewhat. And, I've loved what I've seen from Deontay Johnson this season. I think Johnson's been a real number 1 guy for the Steelers. I think that with him, with Claypool, with another receiving option in Freiermuth, with who else is on their team? I think all of those guys in the passing game, even Harris out of the backfield, make a little bit of something for the Steelers that makes it interesting.
Yeah, maybe Derek Watt gets a touchdown in this one.
Maybe. No.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, if that happens, I'm going to come back to this. These teams have played each other before. Bengals won 24-10. The Bengals out yards per played. The Steelers 6.4 yards per play for Cincinnati, 4.4 for the Steelers. So the Steelers couldn't get anything going offensively. Their defense played fine in that one. Although, again, Burrow with kind of a very funny stat line in this one, 18 passing attempts, 172 yards. So he did really good. But just, Joe Mixon also had 18 carries. So kind of there you go. That's what you do is, you could see that happening again. And for the flip side, we've seen teams have success with kind of these check downs against Cincinnati, throwing over the middle. Maybe the Steelers can wake up and do that. So I think there's a real possibility the Steelers do win this. Although, again, Bengals are the clear favorite.
Yeah, I do have to say though, real quick, Tim B here. You may be new to the show, but I have given Deontay Johnson plenty of credit on this show. I gotta say that.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, you're one. I mean, it's like saying, "Oh my God, finally, someone's praising Tim Patrick with you."
I know. Those are my guys. I really like Johnson though.
Yeah, no, he's very good. So I was looking at this. I didn't realize the math. So I suppose there's a odd number of games this week, Kyle, which means one is going undrafted,
Oh
which
yeah, shoot.
means which means you have to lock up the remaining game no matter what it is. But now I don't know which one you plan to lock up. So the two games on this list are Buccaneers at Colts and Titans at Patriots. I don't know which one you have locked up. So I'm just going to go with which one I think has the smallest chance of covering and hope I get it right. I think I'm going to give you Titans Patriots.
Yeah. So these two games were my two favorite lock candidates, anyways.
Okay.
But this is my number one. Actually, this was my number two. I ended up going back to the
All right.
Bucs.
I nailed it.
But I am gonna have to lock up the Patriots. I feel good about locking up the Patriots too. This is my number two choice. So let's go through this. You know, we've seen in the past that Bill Belichick loves to take away the number one option of defenses. It's almost become the most cliche thing ever said about the Patriots is that the Patriots take away the number one option on offenses, because every team schemes to do that, but the Patriots just do it well.
All right.
So
well, every team should do it. Not every team actually does.
Yeah, exactly. The Raiders just do their thing.
Right.
So Julio Jones is out. Derrick Henry is out. That leaves potentially A.J. Brown, if he's healthy, as the number one option to take away for the Titans. We've seen a couple things that the Patriots do. If they love their number one corner in that matchup, they're going to stick J.C. Jackson on him, or they could throw Jalen Mills on him with a secondary guy over top as sort of a double coverage role and let Jackson take the number two guy. I think they've done both of those, and I think either of those would work in this game. I really like the Patriots in this one to lock them up, and I don't really see Tennessee moving the ball. I think Tennessee is really going to struggle to move the ball on the Patriots, and that's why they win. It's going to be interesting because both of these teams love to get after the quarterback. They both get a ton of sacks. They both have 2.5 sacks a game. But I just think that the Patriots are going to be able to run the ball, control the clock, and they should win this one by 10, given the injuries to the Titans. I love the Pats here. Lock it up.
Yeah, I don't hate this. I really don't. I think that, it's weird because it seems like, man, how are you giving the, Titans 6.5 points here when they have won so many games, but like the injuries have just really sunk them. So I really think this is fair. And one thing is you always kind of like to talk about the touchdown thing. If it's 6.5, so it's not 7, so that makes it a little bit easier. All they have to do is win by a touchdown in this one. Patriots are good, and it's possible I was a bit too low when we had these discussions about it. The more I think about it, I think you're probably closer to being right than I am. The Patriots, if you look at net points per drive, so basically think about it as they play one offensive series, the other team plays one offensive series. Who got the most points? They are currently first in the NFL. So Patriots doing good things. They're best in defensive points per drive and 8th in offensive points per drive. So there's a lot they do very well. And I think for Tennessee, kind of one of the issues is, so probably the best thing Tennessee does right now with all the injuries is they have a good secondary, but I just don't know how much that's going to matter against New England, who will run the ball a lot, get you in zone, and kind of really attack the linebackers more than attack the corners and safeties.
Yeah. And, for all the stuff about Mac Jones check down artist, the Patriots are 8th in the NFL currently in yards per pass attempt. I think that they're going to be able to have success doing anything they want against this team. I will say, like I said, both of these teams like to get after the quarterback. I think the Patriots pass blocking has been a little worse than their run blocking, and you can kind of scheme up blitzes to get after them. And I will say the other thing, too, is that Mike Vrabel has found ways to kind of be a thorn in the Patriots' side and coach pretty well against them. But I just don't know with the talent discrepancy right now with the Tennessee's injuries, how they keep up with this game. I mean, if A.J. Brown's out of this game, this has got to be like a 10. This has got to be minus 10, right?
Yeah, I mean, that would be really tough. I mean, I don't know. And I think Tannehill's played well this year. I think Tannehill has kind of gotten a raw deal in a lot of these matchups he's had to go up against. I think he's played well, but I don't know if I certainly don't trust this passing attack for the Tennessee more than the New England passing attack. It's kind of one of those weird games where I just don't know what the pathway is. Typically, I would think, okay, play cover 2 and, run the ball. We've seen teams that are, embrace the underdog role, right? Go for it on some 4th downs and hope things work out that way. But like, I don't know if I want the Tennessee Titans to be running the ball constantly. And the issue is that Tennessee really struggles with wide receiver depth. This is one of the things why I dropped them a little bit lower in the preseason when we're talking. I'm like, I love A.J. Brown, love Julio Jones, but I can't have him as a tier 1 wide receiving group because of their wide receiver depth, and it's underperformed. So that's really an interesting difference between them and New England, who has, maybe not the stars, but depth on depth in the wide receiving room. That's kind of why I think that this is a really good matchup for New England, on top of them being just a better team.
Yeah, and they got a ton of depth in the secondary too. They have so many
Right.
guys they can throw at whoever's on the field for Tennessee in the passing game. I think it's going to be a tough one. Like you said, I think Tannehill's been good this year, just like Matt Ryan's been good this year. But you can only do so much when you don't have guys who are open.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. I mean, I don't know how they went. I don't really know how to cover. So I think this is a really good lock by you. Let's move on. Why don't we? Let's go to let's say, where would you have gone? Colts at Buccaneers. So you said you were considering locking up Tampa Bay as well here, -2.5.
Yeah, I love this matchup. I mean, this is the second best run defense in football. Everyone's going crazy over Jonathan Taylor's game, and rightfully so. He had an amazing game. But this is the second best run defense in football, and by talent-wise, people might say the best run defense in football that they're going at. I think they're playing right into Tampa Bay's hands. The secondary for Tampa Bay is getting healthy, and I don't love the idea of Carson Wentz having to beat this team. I just don't. And I think, despite last week and getting after Josh Allen a little bit, Brady's going to be able to torch this team, I feel like. I love that they're going to be able to go up against the secondary. I would easily lock up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. This should be 7. This should not be 2.5.
Wow. So I think, which is interesting because Colts fans got mad at me last week when I didn't give them a ton of credit, which I don't think I think, to me, when I watched that game and watched the Bills beat the Colts, I saw Josh Allen beating himself more than I saw the Colts beating Josh Allen. That's what I saw. That being said, I think the Colts are still a solid team. I think that they do match up defensively nicely against Tampa Bay. The question is just, how much does it matter when the talent disparity is different? Because they do like to play a lot of cover too, which, we keep talking about. Okay, yes, Tampa Bay just was able to have success against the Giants last week, but still didn't light the world on fire offensively. And maybe you can at least keep things interesting. The flip side is, I agree. It's what's going to work. It's really the unstoppable force, meaning the immovable object. We talk about the Bucs' great run defense. Notable aspect, though, is the Vita Vea injury. And it can't be understated how much he means to that run defense. And with him not playing, this now means that I'm fascinated in seeing, could this be – I've only seen one team since Todd Bowles got there run the ball successfully against Tampa Bay, and that was Minnesota. Could we see another scenario where Indianapolis has had so much success running the ball, they do it against Tampa Bay? If they do that, I think they got a shot in this one.
Yeah, I mean, if they do that is the question. I don't know if they can is the problem. So I just think I'm not going to trust anyone to do it. If someone manages to run the ball in Tampa Bay and Taylor manages having a great game in this one, I think you tip your cap to them and say, hey, great job. But I just don't know if I can see it.
Yeah. Also, believe, I see this tweet today came out that said Vita Vea actually should be good to go. So he was apparently close to playing Monday night. So that's good news. If Vita Vea is going to play, that makes things easier for Tampa Bay. But again, how many snaps will he get? How healthy is he really? So all this stuff does matter. But yeah, that's to me, that's really what it comes down to. And I think it's a fair point where it's like, if I have to bet, if the pathway to victory is running the ball against Tampa Bay, it might be tough.
Yeah, a historically rare run defense, basically. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go Bucks here. I feel pretty good about it. And it's not that I don't think the Colts are a good team. I just don't like the matchup. I think that when they can control things, I think they can win a lot of games. I just don't know how much they're gonna be able to control against this Buccaneers team.
Yeah, I think that what's to me what's fascinating for this Buccaneers team is, I mean, again, they're healthy now. And well, actually, let's go back to the Colts. The Colts, to me, do feel very matchup dependent. They feel very much certain teams they can match up really well against. They're an inconsistent football team, and that'll win you some games because you have stuff that you're good at. But you're right. This does feel like the kind of game we could see Carson Wentz like turning the ball over 3 times in.
Yeah, I mean, basically the only guy they're missing is Brown at this point, right? And Davis.
Yeah, Carlton Davis and Antonio Brown. I think, Ali Marpet got banged up. I'm not sure what the report is on that. So, but for the most part, yeah. I mean, they're getting healthier, and that's kind of one thing that happened with Tampa Bay last year is they avoided the major injuries. They had guys getting hurt and missing time, but even in the playoff run, they still had some guys that missed a game here or there. But in the Super Bowl, they had everyone healthy, and there's a lot of luck just with injuries in winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So, like I said, I think that the Colts could win this game, and I wouldn't be like blown away. But at the same time, I just think there's way too much matchup favor in Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, I think I agree. Should be fascinating. Should be a fascinating one. And this is also kind of the game where you could see Tom Brady just like going off.
Yes, absolutely. He loves playing the Colts. It should be a
Right.
good game though.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point. I didn't really think about the Tom Brady versus Colts thing. So you must be hoping for just a complete blowout. Colts lose by 1,000.
I mean, I try and keep it pretty objective on the show, except for talking the Patriots.
Hmm.
But I think I made it well established that the Colts and Ravens can go kick rocks. That's all I got to say.
Yes. Yeah. No. Very strong fan. I like the Ravens. We don't really fight about that, but I've always liked the Ravens.
I get it.
Hmm. Joe
But
Flacco, elite.
ever since that sham of a deflate gate, they can both go kick rocks. That's all I got to say.
Did the Ravens have anything to do with the fight gate? I thought it was just the
They were the
Colts.
first one that complained that went to the Colts. They
Ah.
complained that they grabbed it. They were mad about the whole game, and they complained about the game after the fact and said one of the footballs seemed light, and it went to the Colts game, and that continued everything. And then there was another game where the Patriots were using an uneven line of scrimmage, uh, and the Ravens were saying that it was against the rules, and they didn't understand how it was allowed, and it created a whole different debacle.
Okay, so some fun stuff there. That's good. I always love that stuff. Those little weird arguments, like when the Ravens got mad at the Titans for like standing on the logo. This is the dumb stuff like no one cares about, but like the players get super mad at.
And the fans of those two teams remember for years, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like 30 years from now, you'll still be like, "Here's why I hate the Ravens." It's that
Yeah.
they had a small role in the Deflategate scandal.
I'm sure you got something on the Saints buried deep in the recess of your mind.
I mean, I think it's not really buried deep with the Saints. I think it's
Yeah,
very
that's
much out
fair.
in the open of all their stuff. I think yeah, everyone's aware of that.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that's my thing. Like I said, I keep it objective on the show, but yeah.
Mhm.
So we all have our rivals.
Oh, right. Yes. And that's what makes sports fun too. Again, we don't gotta,
Yeah.
dislike who you dislike. Just don't let it, if we're here, try to not let affect our opinions too much. Yeah. So that's our show. Kyle, I will see you. It'll be a longer break until the next show. We'll see you on Sunday when we recap another week of games.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be a good one. Like I said, really tight lines. I think it's going to create some really good games. Um, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving, all-time holiday. Let's do it.
Yeah, I like this comment. Jake Thornton. I think it's funny people still put Deflategate on Brady. That was all Bill. Yeah, it was Bill Belichick. That's what it was.
We just can't win. God. Never
No,
forget that it was like freezing cold outside.
no, that has nothing to do with it. It totally wasn't. You know what? What's this? That's the wildest thing that ever happened. The Deflategate thing. That's in anything ever is that Tom Brady somehow got suspended 4 games because of that.
Yeah, I mean, between that and yeah, I mean, I think that's crazier than Bountygate. You know,
Hmm.
it's just it was a weird situation.
Yeah, but all right. Yeah, everyone. Thanks again, Kyle. Any final thoughts? I know you're excited for Thanksgiving coming up.
Yep, gonna have some good old mac and cheese. Looking forward to that. Gonna have some
Uh-huh.
turkey. Gonna have some definitely have some beer. Stuffing is another elite one. Sweet potato casserole, that's an elite Christmas dish. Let's see what else we got. Green bean casserole, elite Christmas dish. I don't know. Do you have any favorites?
Well, this is gonna probably sound weird to some people. My grandma makes really good cheese grits, which is that's a big one. My grandparents from Kentucky, so I think that's a big like Southern thing. Cheese grits, fantastic.
Can't say I've had cheese grits at Thanksgiving, but that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever had cheese grits outside of like my immediate family, but it's great.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
My aunt made Brussels sprouts once. Those were pretty good.
I just know I never really had Brussels sprouts, but I just know it was like a meme, like when we were like 12, that Brussels sprouts were gross, so I just like never had them.
I,
And my
you
life has
know,
been fine.
they smell terrible, but they actually taste pretty good, especially when you
Okay,
like cook them in different stuff. So,
how do you feel about this take, Brian? Ham greater than turkey?
um, I think in a general sense, I think ham is better than turkey, like
Hmm.
a home cooked ham. I think sliced turkey is better than sliced ham. That's a different debate, though.
Mhm.
But I do think the aspect of eating turkey once a year makes turkey an elite Thanksgiving dish.
I have to say about this turkey once a year thing. I think most people eat turkey more than once a year. I think that is specifically a Kyle thing.
How many people eat? How many people are making a turkey more than once a
Well,
year?
not making a turkey, but eating actual like eating turkey of some kind.
Well, yeah, I mean that's fair. I eat turkey when I go to barbecue restaurants. I mean turkey's good. But I
Mm,
mean like the whole cooked turkey, that's a different thing.
I guess so. It's a fine meal. I think it's fine. I'm just not it's not crazy for me. It's fine.
That's fair. Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean,
if I had to pick one meal that everyone in America would eat on a holiday, turkey wouldn't have been my first choice.
listen, here's the thing. If you could pick either all turkey or all sides on Thanksgiving, I
Mhm.
think 99.9% of human beings are taking all sides on Thanksgiving because the sides
Yeah.
are the elite part of Thanksgiving, you know.
Yeah, I think so as well. Also, I've never cooked a turkey. I found out recently, apparently it takes a really long time to like cook. Like my guess was like, oh,
Yes.
what? Put it in the oven for 45 minutes. No, it's like hours. Like how are there not like 100 houses burning down on every block? Well, if you're putting turkey like one small thing falls on the ground and boom, house is on fire.
Well, there's been fires when they started deep frying turkeys on Thanksgiving.
I saw a viral the thing of like a lot of firefighters keep demonstrating why it can catch fire, and it seems like I think that the meme suggested that certain firefighters were just doing it because it's fun to start fire to stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hmm.
I mean, not only does it take a while to cook, it takes a while to defrost. So, you're just
Hmm.
adding all this time to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Again, Thanksgiving pizza. I saw someone in the chat was saying they're having DiGiorno's for like that's yeah. See, the Giorno. Is it DiGiorno? How do you say it?
DiGiorno.
DiGiorno. That's the move. I'm with Jake on this one. Thanksgiving pizza. I would do it, but there's no. My family would just. I think they would disown me if I showed up and just had a pizza.
I gotta say, I'm not mad, but I'm just disappointed in you and Jake.
What's wrong with that? You really think pizza is objectively a better dish? You don't have
Then
to
what?
only eat pizza. Just have a slice of pizza.
I'll take my Thanksgiving meal done right. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay. I don't know. We'll have to agree to disagree. Our most
Call
heated
me a
argument.
Thanksgiving snob. I don't care.
All right. Well, I know you're very excited. Everyone, be sure to tweet at by Kyle Grant and wish him a happy Thanksgiving. He'll be too busy just enjoying the holiday though, so he probably won't get to any of them.
I'll be in a food coma through the Bears and Lions game. So somebody let me know how it goes.
Yeah. I'll let you know how it goes right now. It was a lot of people complained about it on Twitter, yeah, but we still chose to watch it over spending time with our families.
Yeah, and Lions lost in the dumbest way possible.
Yes, exactly. All right. Kyle, let them know where they can find us. I already told you your Twitter. I already called out
Yeah.
your Twitter handle. Let them know where they can find us.
Yeah, make sure to follow him at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Ronan on Twitter, and then make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That's at On the Sideline JK.
Yeah. My family has eaten pizza multiple times per week for many decades. Nothing special there. Okay, well that seems like a lot of pizza.
Yeah, I mean, multiple times per week. Do you
Yeah.
live in Italy? I mean,
Maybe maybe that's or maybe it's a New York thing where you just have a pizza by the slice.
yeah, traditional New York slice like Sbarro or something.
Classic The Office reference. Okay. So really I feel like we did a great job of like, we paced this perfectly. We're gonna have a short show and we spent like 10 minutes talking about Thanksgiving.
Yes, I mean that's what we do best. So I mean that's why
Yeah.
everyone turns in.
Come for the come for the football talk, stay for the Thanksgiving talk.
I hope you all enjoyed it. So
Yes. All right. Thanks to everyone who stayed in the chat to the end of this. God bless all of you who listened to all of this nonsense. We do appreciate it. Kyle, any final thoughts or ready to go?
no, we need to go. If I have another final thought, we'll keep going.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Enjoy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks again for watching. And until next time, see you later, alligator.
Peace.